Testing, testing, 1, 2, 3.
Testing, 1, 2, 3.
Thank you for joining the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe.
On this show, we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear.
That means we're going to talk about some of the best movies from the 70s, 80s, and early 90s.
So thank you for joining us. Now let's get it started in here. Hi, this is Zach.
And this is Zoe, and welcome to the Backlook Cinema Podcast with Zach and Zoe, where we take a look back at the movies of yesteryear. And it's our I'm messing up already. Our 41st episode. 41st.
Oh, because on mine it says 40. I don't know.
You know what? I think you're right. It's our 40th episode. I don't know why I wrote 41st. It's our 40th episode.
Like on my side it says 40th, and on yours.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Somehow I wrote 41st, and that's not. Oh, I see what. I'm reading from the wrong script. We're doing Demolition Man next week, and I already started writing Demolition Man, and it's up on my screen. And I was like, oh no, that's the wrong movie. So let me just go ahead and switch screen. And it's uploading my it just says loading. It's gonna take all day now. It doesn't want to cooperate. It be like that sometimes. It be like that. Hold on, let me X out of all of this. I'm not ready. I am not ready. Do you want to save changes to Demolition Man? Yes. All right. Up to do the thing. Click on it. Now it's slow. Now we got it. Now we got the right one. Now I can read that it's the 40th episode. I'm king of the world. All right. I'm king of the world.
Sure.
The reason we started the show is to strengthen the bond between my son Zach and me, Zoe. We watch movies that I loved when I was growing up in the 70s, 80s, and 90s, and we get Zach's impression on these great movies.
If you like our show, then rate and review us on Apple Podcasts, podchasers.com, or your favorite podcast app.
And please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. You can find the details in the show notes. So what you been up to?
Still playing Pokemon Unite. I somewhat see it as a pay-to-win type of mechanic now. Because there are battle items you can equip. Right. And some of them, it is completely broken.
Right. All right. Well, they'll fix it. There are always updates. So,
sure.
Also, you've been up to learning how to drive.
Yeah.
So, you finally decided in your mid-20s that it doesn't pay to be a pedestrian solely relying on public transport. So you want to get into the driving game, right?
Sure. Yeah.
So my son doesn't know how to drive. I know how to drive, but I don't know how to teach him how to drive. So we're both going to figure this out together. And using our two brains, we're going to figure out how to get him on the road. So far he hasn't crashed. So that's a big win for the both of us. So also, what else have I been doing? So yesterday I was a guest on the Watching It podcast with Donnell and Robert. So they talk about TV shows and movies. And yesterday we watched Extraction, which had certain parallels with the movie that we're going to talk about today. Have you seen Extraction?
No. And
you got to check that show out.
Think about it.
Chris Helmsworth. And it's written by the guys that wrote the Avengers, Endgame and Infinity War.
I guess I'll think about it. It's not a guarantee.
Right. But so those guys, they wrote that movie. It stars Chris Hemsworth. They're in a situation where they can't lose now. They're on an upswing, right? So they wrote two of the greatest superhero movies that I've seen, and they wrote Extraction, which is also a great movie. I wish I can remember their names. It'll come up later. So I did that, and they're going to be a guest on our show next week when we record. So the show where I'm a guest host, I think that comes out on Monday. So check out your boy. Oh, actually, by the time you hear this, that episode will already be out. Because we're recording this on a Sunday, but this episode won't be released until Saturday. So by the time you hear this, it'll already be out. So go into your podcast apps, check out your boy being a guest host on their Extraction episode where we talk about that movie. So also, what was the other thing? Oh, we got some reviews. I'm gonna do a couple of shout outs. Actually, we've had these reviews for a long time, but I constantly forgetting to read these things. So, but I want to go ahead and shout out to people who are listening to our podcast. I really appreciate you folks. So the first review is entitled "Great Show," and it goes on. The father and son dynamic is amazing, high quality, good conversation, and that's by Ice Cold 94. He is also has a show called Ice Cold Show with Malik Coleman, and that is available, or that review was written on Apple Podcasts. And so I listen to the Ice Cold Show. It's mainly a sports program. So if you are somebody who's really into sports and you're a sports fanatic, I think that you will really enjoy Malik Coleman. He sounds like a real professional. He sounds like some guy who knows what he's talking about when he's talking about sports. And he gets deep into sports. So it's like he has a passion for it. So if you have a passion for sports, I want to encourage you to listen to the Ice Cold Show featuring Malik Coleman. So the next review says, one of my new favorite podcasts, a father showing movies to his son and getting his reaction. What a great premise. Love checking in each week and listening to Zach's reaction to Zoe's story. Check out the Enter the Dragon episode, my personal favorite so far. Download this show now. Great film commentary with a personal touch. That was from Troy Sawyer, and he's actually from the Not a Bomb podcast, and that review was left on Podchaser. So, actually, I'm not sure if I read that review before or not. I don't think I have. And our final review is entitled, So Good. Just found this podcast. So glad I did. If you like movies, then this is a great podcast to listen to. The hosts keep you engaged and wanting to listen to more. Check it out. And that's from Smcarty84, and that review is on Apple Podcasts. So Smcarty, or I'll spell SMCARTY 84. I'm sure I pronounced it right. I am not sure. So yeah, that's it for the reviews. Once again, thanks for listening. Thanks for leaving reviews. I encourage you to continue to leave reviews if you like the show, and spread the show. Help us grow. And we want to go ahead and move on to the feature conversation. Zachary, what movie did we watch yesterday?
Predator.
Tell us about Predator.
A team of commandos on a mission in Central America jungle to find themselves hunted by an extraterrestrial warrior.
Ooh, that word got you, didn't it?
Yeah.
Extraterrestrial
warrior.
Right.
That was written on IMDb.
Right. So this movie was released on June 12, 1987 by 20th Century Fox. It grossed over $59 million in the U.S. and Canada, and over $98 million worldwide on a $15 million budget. So, and it got favorable. I wrote mixed, but it actually got favorable reviews.
You know, I prefer the older logo than the new one that they do, where, you know, you see the 20th and it spins around to where it says Fox, and I'm like, that makes no sense. Please go back to the old one.
Right. Well, Disney's taking over, so Disney's trying to, and it's not called 20th Century Fox anymore. That's another reason why they changed it. I forgot what they changed it to. I think it's called
20th Fox Century. I'm pretty sure.
I don't know.
The 20th Fox, one of them.
Yeah.
Or 20th Century. Either way, they kept the 20.
Right.
They only took out one of the two things.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the name changes. I'm sure that over time I'll get it. But this was the old name, 20th Century Fox. So the notable thing about this is the last movie that we talked about was Running Scared. So Running Scared, we know, made around $38 million, but we didn't know how much the budget was. And some chatter over Twitter suggested that it may have been a $15 million budget. So considering that Running Scared was made for $15 million and it made almost $40 million, this movie was made for pretty much the same amount, and it made $98 million worldwide. So huge difference, over almost $100 million. This movie was hugely popular. It was one of the great action movies of the 1980s. So this movie stars Arnold Schwarzenegger. He played Major Alan Dutch Schaefer. He was, we know Schwarzenegger's huge filmography, so we're not going to go too deep in all of the movies that he appeared in this time, but he's been announced for a movie called Kung Fury 2, which apparently is a sequel to Kung Fury. He's been announced for Triplets, which I believe is a sequel to Twins, that he did with Danny DeVito back in the 1980s. The Legend of Conan, which is apparently a sequel to the 2 Conan films that we...
are we going to get the one where he actually take the throne and he's sitting down like a king, like a boss? Can we please?
Right, we definitely need to see that one. So no, we didn't see Conan the Destroyer, but we did see Conan the Barbarian.
We need him to be the destroyer, the king among kings. Come on, he needs to be sitting down in his throne being like, I'm bored.
Right. And then the last movie that he's announced to be in is Outrider. So these are 3 upcoming films that he may appear in. Who's up next?
Carl Weathers. He was Staff Sergeant George Dillon. He was in Rocky, Action Jackson, Chicago PD, and The Mandalorian.
Right. He's always cropped up, and I'm always happy to see him. The next is Kevin Peter Hall. He played the Predator, and he was also the helicopter pilot. He's been in Misfits of Science, 227, and Harry and the Hendersons. And then you can guess who he played in Harry and the Hendersons. I think it was a TV show, not the movie. But do you remember? It could have been both. He could have been in both. So you're not familiar with Harry and the Hendersons?
No. So don't dare ask him about which one was he. There's no point.
So Harry and the Hendersons was about a family who lived with a Sasquatch, otherwise known as
let me guess, he was a Sasquatch.
He was a Sasquatch, that is correct. He played Harry.
Pretty sure that was a movie because there was a parody of that on the Robot Chicken.
Oh, okay, right. So Harry is the name of the Sasquatch. He was, there's going to be some discrepancy in his actual height, but on IMDb, his height is reported as 6'9". He tragically died of AIDS from a blood transfusion in 1991. So he had played in Predator 1 and Predator 2, but probably one of the reasons why they didn't continue was that he had passed away, and I don't know, maybe they didn't feel like, or maybe Predator 2 didn't give us the box office that people wanted. But he was a pretty good working actor, and his life was tragically cut short. Who's the next one?
Elpidina?
That's pretty close. Elpidia, I guess.
Elpidia Carrillo?
See, okay, here's the problem. That name is full on Spanish, so it's got the 2 R's that you have to roll, and then the 2 L's, which is pronounced like a Y. So that's super hard. So Carrillo.
Okay. She played as Anna. She was in Salvador and 9 Lives.
Then we have Bill Duke. He played Sergeant Mac Elliott. He was in Commando, X-Men: The Last Stand, and Exit Wounds. So have a guess at who Bill Duke is?
No, because I remember seeing X-Men: The Last Stand, but it was just a humble mess of lots of people being there.
Do you remember who he was in the movie?
Mac. He was the black guy.
Right.
Okay.
He was a bald black guy. He was. Let me think. He was bigger than. Well, it was kind of hard to tell because he kept his clothes on the whole time. But he appeared bigger than Carl Weathers. So he was the other black guy. So anyways, so Bill Duke, he was in X-Men: The Last Stand, but he played Oliver. He played Trask. He's just credited as Trask. And Trask is the same character that's played by the little person in the other X-Men movie where they featured the Sentinels, Days of Future Past. So if you remember that movie, there was a little person, I can't remember his name, but I remember he was on Game of Thrones, and he played Trask, which is a more accurate portrayal because he was a little person in the comics. So anyways, it was just a small scene in X-Men: The Last Stand. He wasn't like
yeah,
a big star.
I'm pretty sure that's why I don't remember.
He was an important character, but he played a smaller part in that movie. And who's next?
Jesse Ventura. Did I?
Yeah, you got it
right. Sergeant Blaine Cooper. Cooper?
Yep.
He was in WWE Superstar Jess the Body Ventura. What?
Okay, you need to put some respect on that name. Now,
Jesse the Body Ventura.
Right. So, to tell you the truth, he's not my favorite like person in the world. He's like deep into conspiracy theories, but when he was wrestling, well, I never actually saw him when he was wrestling. I only known him as an announcer. Like, so this is after he wrestled, he became an announcer. So I knew him. He was like the heel announcer. So he was an announcer that will always cheer for the heel person. This is pretty much way before your time, but yeah. By the time you grown up, he had already become governor of Minnesota and whatnot. But he used to wear these colorful outfits and whatnot. But yeah, he's Jesse the Body Ventura.
He was in Batman and Robin, The Running Man, and Demolition Man.
Right. So we're gonna be watching Demolition Man next week, so you'll see him again. And trying to think. I don't remember what he played in Demolition Man, though. I remember him in The Running Man, and he was funny in The Running Man. So the next person is Sonny Lenham. He played Billy Soul. He was in Lock Up, 48 Hours, and The Warriors. So we watched 48 Hours. So you remember him in 48 Hours?
No.
Sonny Lenham.
No.
Lenham. So Sonny Lenham, he was the Native American dude in The Predator. So he was that big dude in 48 Hours. So in 48 Hours, remember, he was the bad guy, and he helped his friend escape.
Oh, him. Yeah, okay, now I remember.
Right. So who's the next one?
Richard Chavez. He was Corporal Pancho Ramirez. He was in Witness and Baja Run.
Right. And next is R.G. Armstrong. He played General Phillips. He was in Dick Tracy, El Dorado, and Children of the Corn. And finally,
Shane Black. He was Corporal Rick Hawkins. He was in RoboCop 3 and Swing State. Currently writing films such as the Lethal Weapon movie series, Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, and The Long Kiss Goodnight.
Right. So I wrote obviously he wrote those movies. I shouldn't have said wrote currently writing, but I wrote that.
That sounded wrong.
He's more of a writer than he is an actor. He doesn't really have much acting credit. This is the most featured movie that he was in was this movie, and then after that, he went full into writing movie scripts. As a matter of fact, as we would discover later on, he was actually full into writing movie scripts while he was filming this movie. But he's written some of the best movies that I've seen. So Shane Black was a dude that was telling those crude
those
jokes, right? And we'll talk about that more in the trivia section.
This was directed by John McTiernan.
I think that's McTiernan.
Yeah, McTiernan. He directed Die Hard, Rollerball, and The Last Action Hero.
Right, along with a bunch of other pretty decent movies. So this movie was written by Jim Thomas and Jane Thomas, the Thomas brothers. They wrote The Rescue, Executive Decision, Wild Wild West, Behind Enemy Lines. They wrote some pretty good movies.
The music was by Alan Silvestri.
Yeah.
Okay, he did Red 2, The Croods, Flight, and Van Helsing.
Van Helsing.
I
have to admit, that's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine, Van Helsing. It was such a stupid movie, but I still watch it. So the executive producers were Lawrence. Oh, this is a good one. You lucky you didn't get this one. Lawrence Pereira and Jim Thomas.
All right. So that's it for the rundown. And if you're enjoying the show, remember that you can get t-shirts, hoodies, mugs, face masks, jerseys, and more at our website, backlookcinema.com, where you can click the link to either teesprings.com or teepublic.com. Now we're going to take a short break, and we'll be right back to talk about our favorite parts of the movie, some movie trivia, and find out what some of the critics thought.
The music that you hear in this ad is being provided by Zapsplat.com.
Are you being blackmailed by a corrupt politician? Do you have a family member that's being held for ransom by drug dealers? Is a crooked landlord trying to unlawfully evict you and the authorities are ignoring your pleas for help? Sometimes you need to look outside the law to get justice. In 1972, a crack commando unit was sent to prison by a military court for a crime they didn't commit. These men promptly escaped from a maximum security stockade to the Los Angeles underground. Today, still wanted by the government, they survive as soldiers of fortune. If you have a problem, if no one else can help, and if you can find them, then maybe you can hire the A-Team. Contact the A-Team today for a 20% off discount using code BACKLOOK. We're back once again. Thanks for joining us. Joining us. You can keep. Oh shoot! See, I should have rewrote this because now my brain does not want to read this copy. You can keep up with us by following our socials on Instagram and Facebook at Backlook Cinema Podcast and on Twitter at Backlook Cinema. We encourage you to leave feedback, comments, suggestions, etc. Or you can email us at fanmail@backlookcinema.com. Maybe I should go through some voices exercises like you see actors doing. Like before they have to go into a scene or before they read something, they're out in the corner going, fla la la la, fla la 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 la.
No, you should
they're doing
not.
all of that.
No,
before we record.
I don't care. No.
Right, we should do that.
No,
or
you will. You can do that in another room.
I should be going in the room going,
yeah, you can do that. Yeah, you can do that.
So that I can say that instead of that. You know what I'm saying? Because I notice that a lot of times when I'm trying to say that, I'm saying that or whatever. But you know what?
You feel good?
Yeah, I feel good now. I think good. I got it out of me. Let's talk about our favorite part. What's your favorite parts of the movie?
I'm gonna start with the beginning where Dutch and Dylan go to a handshake. That infamous meme where everyone just makes that a meme now. It's like, oh yeah, look at that.
Right. That is one of the dick measuring contests that they had on and off screen. A lot of machismo measuring on that movie, on that set. When you got that many muscle bound men that like meshing together, it's like their testosterone is just kind of spewing in the air and they're feeding off of each other. So that was one of that. So, one of the things that I had read, this is like a while ago when the movie came out, was that they were obviously measuring their arms and their strength. So, they said that Carl Weathers' arms were actually a little bit bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger because Arnold had actually decided to slim down for this movie so that he would look more like what like a soldier would look like. So he slimmed down a little bit. So in the slimming down, they said his arms were supposed to be smaller. But in this shot, the way they shot it, it looks like his arms are bigger. Yeah. But that was funny. So that's the part that people tend to go over, that initial challenge in that part. Go on.
The helicopter scene where it's actually two parts. The first one, I believe, starts off with what's his name? I think it was Blaine. Was that the macho one? Him.
Right. Him chewing the tobacco.
Yeah, tobacco.
Right.
And then
he's trying to offer it to people.
Yeah, he's offering to people, and then Dill's like, that's gonna, he's trying to talk to him, and then he ends up spitting on his shoes. And he's like, that's gonna become a bad habit of yours.
Right.
Another one is when Rick is trying to tell jokes to Ramirez. Well, no, not Ramirez. Billy.
Right, he's trying to tell jokes to Billy.
A cruel joke to Billy, and then he does not laugh. He's like, "Oh, I'm just gonna stop."
He's trying to tell jokes about women genitalia, and he actually tells two jokes. Billy does not laugh at the first joke.
The first one, he doesn't laugh.
Right.
He just stares at him like, why are you talking to me?
And what makes it funny is that when Billy doesn't laugh, then he's trying to explain the joke, why it's funny, and Billy kind of just walks away.
Billy doesn't walk. Remember, they're on a helicopter.
Oh,
so
they're on a helicopter.
Sitting down in silence, listening to music.
Right. He's just sitting down in silence, like not having any of that contest. So go ahead.
When they actually start fight, like when they fight the gorillas, I was like, okay, that's pretty good. Some tactical stuff going on. I'm not sure on the military aspect of basically rolling forward and then crawling. I'm not sure if that's the thing where you slide down a hill and then continue to crawl. I don't know about that.
If you're on a hill and you're already lying down and there's leaves on the ground, that could happen. So yeah, all that crawling and stuff, that's basic military movement.
The action was good.
And then a lot of the actors were actually in the military. Notably, Jesse Ventura, he was a Navy SEAL, so he was like the ultimate in military warfare. So if anybody knew how to move around, it would be Jesse Ventura.
And he was the one to disarm a trap too, because he was like, "Ooh, there's a trap."
Right.
I was like, "Is that really how you disarm a landmine? It was not a landmine. Tripwire.
It was a tripwire that was connected to a landmine. So that particular mine is called a Claymore mine.
Yeah,
so
Claymore.
Basically,
I was like, okay, so you can actually gently, as long as you, I guess, hold the pin down, whatever, to stop it from going off. You can hold it down and cut the wire, and then like, okay.
I guess I don't know. It's been a long time since I messed with a Claymore mine.
I'm like, okay, that's interesting. Yeah, they have two different assassination attacks. What was the first one? I can't remember. I know the second one was with Blaine and Cooper and Mac, where they both assassinate two different people. They're on the same built platform, I guess, building.
Right.
Blaine gets one guy, Mac gets the other guy. I was like, okay, that's some good stuff going on.
Right. They do some stealthy killing, which is kind of what you expect from a special forces unit. So when I watched this movie, even when I watched it the first time, I always thought of them as being in the actual military, but apparently they're a mercenary group that was hired by the military. So it works either way, right?
I remember the first assassination, basically a basic sneak around from behind, holding their mouth and stabbing them.
Right.
Well, okay, yeah, that's the basic one.
What I liked is when Mac had walked around to the side of, I think it was a truck or something, or a platform, and he whistled for the guy.
Yeah, he whistled. I was like, that's free. I was like, what?
And the guy looked over.
Assassin's Creed.
Right. He got him Assassin's Creed style. And then after they killed off like the perimeter watch.
Yeah, they killed him off, and then Dutch is like, okay, I got a better idea. Instead of continue to sneak around, I'm gonna use this truck as a way to set it all off. I'm planning. I think he planted some type of bomb on there.
It was some type of bomb.
Planted on there, took it off the wheels because they didn't have the back wheels on it because it was fixing it up or whatever.
Right.
Took that off the whatever was holding it up, let it run off into a building. One of the guys got in trying to stop it, and then Dutch just was like, all right, time to blow it up. I was like, oh, that's real good.
Right. So that vehicle blows up, and then that's when everybody starts shooting. Right. So now they have the advantages because there are no lookouts or snipers. So they basically overrun that
camp.
Yeah, that camp. And kill everybody.
But then that's when they find out that, they were not looking for any officers like they was told.
Right. They were supposed to be looking for officers that were kidnapped. But then they found out it wasn't a rescue mission. It was because
more like an intel mission.
What's his name?
Dylan?
Yeah, Dylan. He's not actually part of the team. He's actually a member. He's in the CIA. So the CIA wanted to use what's his name? Dutch's group to do a CIA mission. Basically, it's not the type of mission that Dutch likes to sign up for. So Dutch says that they only do rescue missions, and Dylan wanted them to do some kind of clandestine mission and Dutch didn't like that type of mission. So Dylan basically fooled Dutch into doing this clandestine mission where they can gather intel. So they got the intel that they wanted. But Dutch wasn't happy about being fooled because he and Dylan were friends, and now Dylan had pulled some shady stuff. So now they got to work their way back to the pickup point so the helicopter can pick them up and take them back over to safety.
Let's see. Another good. So at that point, they had a hostage with them, a female hostage, which is Anna. And during one scene, they're basically, Billy is just staring up at the trees, and they don't know why. Dutch goes to him like, "What's wrong?" Billy's like, "There's something up there." And he's like, since he's a Native American, he can feel it in his bone, in his soul, which is why he's clutching his, I'm not sure what kind of...
It's like a medicine pouch.
No, it's not a medicine pouch. It's some type of souvenir, not a souvenir, but like a...
Yeah, well, it was definitely a little bag.
No, it was like a little knife, something like that. It wasn't a bag.
It looked like a bag to me, but
yeah,
he was
holding on it, rubbing it, because he had a bad feeling. He wasn't trusting what was in the trees. And during that time, that's when Anna decided to escape. She hit Phillips with a tree bark,
right.
Ran, and so they had to chase her. And while they're chasing her, we get this nice little scene, which they do a little time by time, of the predator's view. I was like, oh, that's pretty cool, because
right.
the predator can't really see,
right?
So they go based off heat vision,
right. I
was like, that's really cool. Okay, they're chasing. Phillips catches her. But then before...
Wait a minute. I don't think it's Phillips. It's either Hawkins or Ramirez. Phillips is a general, so he's not here. Was it the dude with the glasses or the dude without the glasses?
It was without the glasses.
All right, so that's Ramirez.
So it was Ramirez he was the first one to be killed. And then she's traumatized.
Right.
She's shocked and stunned at what just happened.
Right.
The other groups catch up like, hey, where is he? Where's Ramirez? And then she ain't saying anything. And I believe that's when it was Hawkins that does show up and then looks. And he's like, oh, I found his stuff. And I found his guts over there. I don't see his body.
Right.
And so they looked at her, asked her in Spanish, talking about what happened to him. And she was like, oh, it was a force that took him.
Right.
And Dylan's like, yes, he's lying. It's just gorillas everywhere. Right.
Because it wasn't Phillips. That wasn't Phillips. That was Dylan. Dylan was saying that.
Dylan was saying that? Yeah, I'm saying Dylan said it. Right. And the reason why, because they are in gorilla territory. Right. But the issue is, they're like, why didn't she run away?
Right. Why didn't they kill her? Why didn't she run away? Because he was like, man, it's just the gorillas. That's all it is. It's just a couple of guys. We can take them. So what other parts did you like?
Basically, when they are getting hunted down, and so they're getting hunted down, the next one to die was Cooper. And he gets shot with this plasma blast or whatever. Right. Goes in his chest and it's completely imploded. I was like, oh, yeah, that is gruesome.
Giant hole in his chest, and
you can see his ribs. Like, ooh,
yeah, he has this minigun, and we'll talk about the minigun that he had.
Oh wait, I forgot about that part too. Right, during the fight with the gorillas, he got shot, and I believe it was Hawkins that asked him, talking about, "Hey, you're bleeding," and he's like, "I ain't got time to bleed," and so he's like, all right, Macho Man, fine. You can say that if you want. And he has a grenade launcher. So he shot some grenades up because there was some gorillas above them. And he's like, well, since you don't got time to bleed, you got time to duck? Right. I'm like, yeah, sure, you don't got time to bleed. Okay, Macho Man. You and your chewing tobacco spitting habits, sure. Okay. Right. So yeah, he was the next one to die. That's when Matt comes. He's all mad. He sees the predator, but the predator's cloaked, and all he saw was the yellow eyes, really. Right. And so he he shot his gun. That's when everyone else came, and like, what's going on? And they're like, it got Cooper. So that's when Cooper picks up the machine gun.
You mean that's when Mac picks up the machine? Yeah, Mac picks up
the minigun and starts firing out. They're all firing in one direction. Right. And it is let out loads of rounds. I was like, oh, goodness gracious.
They just start mowing the forest with bullets.
They're like, did we hit anything? It's like, no. They searched. They didn't find nothing. No trail or anything. But the female, she finds some green-looking liquid on a leaf.
Right.
which was the predator's blood. I was like, oh, okay.
Right.
That's neat. So it can bleed.
Right. But she doesn't tell anybody.
She doesn't tell anyone
which
off
is
the
weird.
bat.
She doesn't.
Why does she tell anyone that? Hey, I found tracks.
Right.
There's blood. Right? No, she just keeps quiet.
Right, because she's not trying to escape because she knows the thing is out there. But at the same time, she's not sharing information, and at the same time, she's pretending that she doesn't know or speak English. So,
oh yeah, that's another thing. She just continues to speak Spanish until I believe the third point where she starts speaking English. I'm like, you speak English?
Right.
I'm sorry, but why?
Right. Well, why are you revealing that now? Like, why are you just now? Well, I think before because she was a prisoner.
Yes, he was a prisoner.
Right. So she's not trying to
because he's in danger,
cooperate.
and the only way to get out alive is by cooperating with them.
Right. So, what's your other favorite part?
So the next favorite part is when they're setting up a trap for the thing, and because they know it can bleed and they know it can be killed.
Right.
So they're setting up a trap, and they know they can't just use basics, their military stuff, because they tried that before when they was camping out, trying to make sure, the thing doesn't come back, because they had Cooper's body in a tent bag or whatever.
Right. It was a poncho.
Yeah, a poncho, because, they wanted to take it and bury it when they get back.
Right.
And the thing came, but what happened was, for some reason, I guess it brought a Borg with it, a giant pig. I was like,
no, well, it was just in the forest.
Yeah, it was just in the forest, and it was running. Charged at Mac, knocked him down. Mac is thinking it's the predator itself, so he's going, shooting it, stabbing it.
Right, he's like, I got you, I got you, stabbing it.
They're making fun of him because that wasn't the thing. So this thing set off the tripwire, which it didn't. It was actually the predator, which I'm pretty sure that's the reason why the boy got scared, because the predator set off the trap. And when it did that, what it was really after was the body, because it wanted something from that body.
Right. So
I'll get into what it wanted, because it does show what the predator wants.
Right. So it snapped up Blaine's body.
Yeah.
And without the other guys being able to find out. Right.
It is so silent that they don't even notice, because Mac is making a lot of noise.
Right.
So they set up a trap. They're waiting. And then Dutch is like, I'm going to go forward a little bit. So he dodges the traps. And then afterward, that's when the predator comes, get caught in the trap, surprisingly, gets pulled up. And they can see that something got pulled, but they can't see what's in it.
Right.
And that's when the thing shot some blast from its side cannon, arm cannon, shoulder cannon, wherever that thing is.
Right. Well, I'll just tell you what. They call it the parrot because it sat on his shoulder.
Okay.
And it basically aimed independently of the predator itself. So yeah, it shot off from his shoulder cannon to get out of the trap. Which triggered another trap that hit Hawkins, made him I'm pretty sure he had broken ribs, because it was like a tree bar that came down, and I'm like, yeah, he has broken ribs. Right. It basically the tree came down and swung and hit him, and probably crushed his insides.
So he was badly injured. That's when Mac was like, I'm going to get him. So Mac goes after the predator because the predator is running off. Dylan's like, well, I'm going to go after him too because, he killed my men. That was when I was coming to the forest. They found a crashed helicopter. They found 2 dead bodies in a helicopter and 3 hung, skinned alive. Not skinned alive. Yeah, skinned alive.
They were skinned.
They were skinned.
Right.
So, they're going, Dylan and Mac are gone trying to chase the predator. Dutch, Hawkins, the female, and Billy are going to get to where the helicopter is, because that's basically their last option, is really to hopefully escape.
Right.
So they're going to escape. Dylan is looking for Mac, and he's like, and he hears Mac's voice, but he doesn't see Mac.
Right.
And then Mac grabs him from behind, pulls him into the bush he's in, and he points up in the trees. And he's like, he's right there. You can see him. And then the camera does zoom in where you can see the camouflage effects. And I was like, oh, okay. So the camouflage is good, but not that good. If you can see some wiggly lines happening, then you know that it's there.
Right.
So Dylan's like, okay, so I'll go around above, you go down on the bottom. So they split up. we stay on Max because he's crawling, and then as he crawls, he gets to a point where he sees 3 red dots on his arm, and then he looks trying to figure out where is it coming from, and when he looks up, he gets shot point blank in the head. I was like, ooh.
Right.
Man.
So I'm when he sees the 3 dots on his arm, I'm pretty sure he knew that he had problems. And then and then he looks up and the dots are on his head now, and the next thing you know, his head just explodes like a watermelon.
I was like, oh
yeah, ugh.
Then that's when Dylan finds Dutch's body, and then Dylan sees the predator, but the predator is also aiming at him, so he takes a shot, but then his arm gets shot off. I was like, ooh.
Right.
Say goodbye to that arm.
Right.
And the predator runs around, and Dylan notices, and he turns around, taking the second gun that he had on his shoulder off to shoot. But that doesn't do much because he gets stabbed, pulled up, stabbed. I was like, oh.
Right. Because this time, his arm gets shot off. His severed arm is still jerking and pulling the trigger.
Man,
we're not really shooting at anything in particular because it's just reflexes. And then now he's one-handed, still in pain, pulls out his other gun, trying to shoot the predator, but misses, and the predator just goes up to him and just stabs him with his knife gauntlet. So,
I was like, oh man, okay then.
Right. And
they hear the scream of Dylan. They continue to run. That they get to this tree bark that's across a waterfall, and then Billy just stops, takes off his gear, take out his knife, and then he's basically telling them to go ahead and run.
I mean, he don't say anything. They say, come on, Billy, come on.
And he just stands there knowing that there's no point of continue to run because they're all going to get hunted down. So
that's when Dutch was like, well, he's basically going crazy, and we got to continue without him.
And here's a funny thing. Before that, before all that, Hawkins did tell Billy another joke, which made him laugh.
Right.
And there was another point where, Hawkins like, come on, Billy, you're not scared. You're the only one that's never scared. And then talking about we're being hunted. Talking about we're being hunted is not a man out there. Because he's admitting that he is scared.
Right. It's like, come on, Billy, you ain't afraid of no man. And Billy says, there's something out there. And it ain't no man.
I'm like, oh.
We all gonna die.
He's like, we're all gonna die. I'm like, say it so casually. Because it was like, yeah, we're all gonna die. I'm not gonna say it like I'm being honest.
Right. Die. He's being honest.
I'm just gonna ease the burden. I'm not gonna lie saying, oh, we're gonna get out of here. No.
Right.
We're all gonna die.
He's not gonna sugarcoat it. He was like, we all gonna die. So, what's your next favorite part?
Yeah, they're still trying to escape. Hawkins get caught. Because he gets shot. Because the predators in the trees, they shoot at him.
Well, here's a part that kind of confused me.
Yeah, they get shot with the laser, but their arm doesn't come off. And then doesn't also get shot, but his arm doesn't go. He gets scared. I'm like, I'm sorry.
I think Hawkins gets shot in the head.
Yeah, he gets shot in the head.
No, that wasn't Hawkins. That was Ramirez. So Ramirez.
Hawkins was the guy with the glasses that told the joke. Well, he was the one that told the jokes.
Oh, he one that died. So it was Ramirez. So Ramirez, he was the one that was injured. So he's injured. So Dutch is carrying.
Oh, that was okay. So
Ramirez
was near the last one to die.
Right. So Dutch is helping to carry Ramirez to safety to the helicopter, and Anna is sort of trying to help Dutch carry Ramirez. So they're trying to get that helicopter, and then on their way, and this is after Sonny gets killed, and then the predator shoots a laser or a plasma blast at Ramirez. Ramirez gets hit, so he dies. And so Dutch and Anna continue to try to run away, but then Dutch gets hit. And so, but it looks to me like he gets hit square on, but he doesn't lose
an arm. I'm like, I'm sorry.
Or his chest.
Dylan got hit and he lost his arm.
Right.
Billy got hit in the face. He lost his head.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Right. So, you mean Mac? Mac got hit. Yeah,
Mac got. I'm like, I'm sorry. Right. That makes no sense.
That part didn't make it. I don't know why or how Dutch survived. So they never explained that. So
Anna runs off towards the pickup point because Dutch is telling her to get to the chopper.
Oh yeah, that's one of the greatest lines in cinema history. Get to the chopper! Get to the chopper now! Right? So
she runs off to get there. So Dutch is like, okay, I'm gonna have to fight this thing somehow. So he runs in another direction, and then he continues to run, jumps into the waterfall, gets into the mud, and under the tree, and under like some tree bark. And this is when it's known the predator cannot see anything in cold. He can only see the heat signatures.
Right. So what happens is that the mud is cooler than Dutch. So it camouflages his heat signature. So now that his heat is camouflaged and his body is cooled down, the predator can't see him and gets frustrated and then kind of goes off and try to...
Before he goes off, he sees something he thinks is Dutch.
Right.
And he shoots at it, but it was really a possum. He's like, that wasn't it. Darn.
Right. So now he's still hunting Dutch. So
this is basically the last scene. Dutch is like, okay, this is the last stand. I'm killing this thing now. So he sets up a bunch of traps, a bunch of them. And this is when we also see the predator nicely cleaning his souvenir. Well, before he pulls one out, I believe it was Billy he pulls out. Yeah, it was Billy because he was the one with the long hair. Yeah, pulls out Billy from the spine just to get the skull.
Right.
And he's like, oh, my precious trophy.
What does that remind you of?
What? Mortal Kombat.
Right.
He's like, yeah, my precious trophy, just cleaning it. I'm like, you're just doing this for the skulls? What is... Okay, you're a weird race doing this.
Well, we do it all the time. We do it to animals, but they do it to humans.
For animals, at least we're doing it because we're all hunting them for, not just as a trophy, but, for a source of food.
No, but nowadays, that's all they do. They just hunt them for trophies. So he's doing. He's a trophy hunter.
I mean, they do. If I remember, they do donate the body to the butcher. So
No, not always.
Where I feel like they should if they're gonna be hunting, and
just like when they, one of the trophy hunts that they do is that they hunt elephants and cut their tusks off. So, and then when you do that, that causes mortal damage to the elephant. But like they kill the elephant to cut the tusks off, and then they just leave the elephant body there, right? So,
I'm talking about for like deers and stuff. If you're gonna do it for a deer, then,
it's different with deer because there are lots of laws around deer hunting and whatnot. So most deer hunters, they do it for the meat. They don't really do it as much for the trophy. But like when you talk about trophy hunting in Africa, a lot of those guys, they just do it. They shoot the animals just to shoot them. States. They don't care about like the meat or donating the body or anything like that. They just do it for the trophy of the animal, and that's what the predator is doing. Is like, we are his trophies. His movie is kind of like a commentary on game hunting.
He's cleaning his trophy, and Dutch has fully set up his trap. He lets out a big scream to tell the predator, "Come on, fight me. I'm still alive. Ha 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 ha. Right. You didn't kill me." Oh,
also another thing that we had kind of passed over
was the predator healing himself. Well, and letting out a big roar, and they're like, I don't like the sound of that roar.
Right. That and it's like, it's funny, right? Because that scene where he's healing himself from being shot, it kind of reminds me of a scene in one of the Rambo movies where Rambo has to heal himself. He got shot or something, and he has to cauterize the wound. He has to do all of this to stop the bleeding, and he screams when he cauterizes the wound. So that's the same thing happens in the Predator's doing the same thing. So the other part I'm thinking about is when they discover that the Predator only likes to hunt people who are a threat, not necessarily a threat to the Predator, but somebody who's going to fight back. So there's a point where it's just Anna and Dutch, and they're running from the Predator, and she starts to pick up an automatic gun that had fallen, and he kicks it out of her hand and tells her to run because he had figured out that it only wants to fight people who's going to fight back. So he knows that the Predator is not going to go after Anna because it never went after her before. So she tries to pick up the gun, he kicks it out of her hand. Just go. It doesn't want you, but get out of here anyway.
Yeah. Because I think, that was a key hinge was like when you hear the Predator relay the messages in his helmet from when when Dylan had like a scorpion on his shoulder and Matt got it off of him and such.
Right.
You can kind of pick it up like, okay, he's gonna fight back. I gotta get him.
Right.
They're all gonna. I gotta get all of them. Because that one, that's fine.
Right.
Leave her be. Because that's why he never attacked her from the start.
Right. Like when he attacked, when he had killed Hawkins was with her. Yeah. So he had killed Hawkins but left her alone because she was clearly a prisoner because at that time she was bound. So we were at the end of the
he
movie.
sets up the trap. He lets out a big scream to tell the Predator to come on. The Predator comes. Dutch has set fire to a part of the woods so that can attract him better. He's hiding in the trees, and he's waiting for the Predator to be at the right spot so he can take out his camouflage. He does. Takes out the camouflage, takes a few scenes, just a few little scenes later for him to take out the little parrot off his shoulder. And it's like, oh, did he? No. I don't think he disarmed it. He did something else. I forgot what else he did. But, he's making sure all the other traps that he has set up goes off. Kind of does for some of them. Then that's when he has to fight the Predator because the Predator's like, okay, I'm catching on a little bit now. I think I know where I can find you or whatever. Dutch's, his own camouflage starts to wear off because, he had fell into some water. Right. He doesn't have the mud on him no more because the Predator is chasing him at that point. Right. That's when, when all is fails, the Predator does catch him because he put his knife thing. Well, I don't know what that.
I don't know. They're kind of like Wolverine claws.
Between and I'm like, okay, so it's big enough for Dutch's neck to be between the blades.
Right. There's a wide enough gap.
So, he's like, okay.
Like Dutch is like kind of lying down in a prone position.
Waiting for the Predator.
He's waiting for the Predator.
Like, damn, I'm like, oh, he got caught.
Right.
Predator's like, okay, I caught you now.
Right. And the Predator was more like, I could have killed you. See, I could have killed you right here.
He's like, you know what? You're a worthy warrior. You're gonna fight me. Because he picks up Dutch, chokes him up with one hand, I believe, up against the wall, backs up, takes off his helmet, takes off the parrot, and he's like, you're fighting me hand-to-hand combat.
Right. And then he screams. Oh, yeah, he does a challenge scream.
Dutch is like, Dutch is also like, you are one ugly motherfucker.
Right.
I'm like, yeah, he is ugly.
Right.
Dutch is like, okay, let me see if I can fight. He uses a tree bark, and the Predator holds up a hand, blocks it, and Dutch is like, this is not going to be fair.
Right.
So Dutch is just getting manhandled left and right.
Right.
And it gets to the point where they're back at the beginning of the first trap. Dutch is crawling under a different trap that he set up where it has spikes. And as he's going, he waits in a corner, and he's telling the Predator, come on, finish me now, come on and do it. He's taunting him to come closer. But the Predator already noticed a trap. He's like, there's spikes here. You really want me to step for it? No. He goes around. Right. And then Dustin's like, darn, he went around. I did not anticipate of him going around.
Right.
But then he also noticed the other trap that he set up, which is a giant tree bark being held up by, I guess, a rubber tree bark, whatever he uses.
Held up by some vines.
Held up by a vine. The Predator gets close enough for him to trigger the trap, causing it to fall on the Predator. He's like, okay, there we go. Predator is still barely alive, but bleeding heavily.
Right.
Dutch is also badly damaged. I'm like, oh man, you're both hurt. You're both badly wounded.
Right.
And then Dutch picks up a rock, going over to the Predator, about to finish it off, and he's like, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to leave you here and bleed to death. And apparently, I guess they wanted the Predator to speak some type of English, because it felt like he tried to speak some English.
Right.
In the scene, I'm like, it feels like he tried, and it was like, you know what? We're not going to have him speak English. This is some gibberish, I guess. Make it sound somewhat English.
Well, there was one part when he was like, what the hell are you?
Yeah, exactly. He said, Dutch asked, what the hell are you? And at that point, again, that's when the Predator sounded like he wanted to speak English.
Right.
But I guess they didn't want that to happen.
Well, his vocal cords are probably all different. Crushed, yeah. So, I'm just saying that they were different. Yeah. They're not formed the same way humans are formed, so they're not going to form human words. But he managed to scraggle out what the hell are you, right? What the hell are you, or whatever.
Are you sure? Because I'm pretty sure that's what Dutch said.
He repeats Dutch.
Oh, he repeat. Oh, okay.
Right. He repeats Dutch. So that's when the predator pulls out his arm.
Yeah, he takes out his arm, starts, pressing on it. There's no effects on it. There's no tell us that it's on or whatever. You just hear sound effects. It would have been nice if
you had the red lights.
That was after he triggered. I'm saying like it would have been nice if there was some lights on beforehand.
Right.
I was like, okay, that's pretty neat. No, there's only sound effects. And then Dutch is hearing this timer going off, and then the predator's just laughing. Right. And then Dutch is like, this man set off a self-destruct button. And he's like, okay, I gotta go. Right. And the predator is still laughing. Right. That's when a huge explosion go off. The pilot sees the explosion. Anna's on the plane. They get Dutch. They fly out. And I was like, oh, you know what? That was really good. Right.
All's well that ends well. So what did you think of this classic movie?
It was really good.
Oh, I'm glad you liked it.
The camouflage effects was okay. The heat sensor, trying to remember, I know
the heat vision.
Yeah, heat vision. That was good to use.
Right.
Just to tell us on how the predator really hunts.
Right. So, have you seen the other Predator movies and when they came out later on?
No, but I think, I don't know.
Oh, okay. Because there's been a bunch of Predator movies, but this is the very first Predator movie. It was fresh. It was new.
Because I know I really seen Alien versus Predator, and I was like, okay, that's a neat concept, but it looks like it was a giant mess.
Right. So, and they've been trying to make, Predator trailer, either remakes, reboots, or continuations.
In that movie, forever. It was like, is a Predator? Who is he a bad? Because, he's going flip-floppy at this moment for me.
Right,
like the alien doesn't care. The alien is an alien. The alien just want to spread everywhere.
Right.
But the Predator's like, I want to hunt these humans, but this alien, he's getting in my way.
Right.
I don't like it. And I'm like, but you're saving. Come on, make up your mind, please. You can kill them all, or you can just either just go after the alien, and because he left if I remember, he saved the human girl, left her alone, and then I believe also took off his helmet too.
Right. So, at that point, they had to team up to kill the alien.
I'm
right, because he ain't trying to die. He's not going to try to kill her and kill the alien. So, and he can't team up with the alien because the alien's trying to kill him. So, it makes more sense to team up with the alien.
Yeah, if I remember that,
team up with the human girl and to try to kill the alien.
I forgot which movie it was where the Predator did get infected by the alien, and
I think that was the same movie. At the end of the movie,
it was a hybrid of the alien and the Predator. I'm like, that is a dangerous combination,
right? Because that's what the alien does. It infects the whatever host it got, and then when it bursts out,
and there's a prequel, an origin stories for the alien. I'm like, oh, okay,
right. That was.
But I never watched that movie because I was like, I just didn't care.
Right. Yeah, that wasn't a great movie. I mean, it has some great moments. But it wasn't a great movie.
Just like, because apparently, just like with the Godzilla, one of the Godzilla movies, Godzilla was supposed to have more forms. Apparently, the alien was supposed to have more forms too. But it was like, no, cut it. Stop. Right. We don't have the budget, the time.
Right. So yeah, they've been trying to make Predator sequels, but and some of them are pretty good. Like there was one called Predators with an S, and I like that, and that was pretty good. But a lot of other people didn't like it. So, but yeah, this was the original, and it was a great movie, and I remember really enjoying it. So, this is a movie I mentioned last episode that's the first time I heard my grandmother cuss. Yeah. So, anyway, let's move on to the trivia section. This is a beefy trivia section. So, but there was just so much juicy stuff in here. I didn't feel right cutting it out. You're going to get all of this. We're about to move into the second hour. The second hour or hour and a half hour. I don't know how long this is going to take, but we're going to get through it. So go ahead, Zachary. Start us off on the trivia.
Jesse Ventura was delighted to find out that the wardrobe department that his arms were 1 inch bigger than Arnold Schwarzenegger's. He suggested to Schwarzenegger that they measured arms, with the winner getting a bottle of champagne. Ventura lost, but Schwarzenegger had told the wardrobe department to tell Ventura that his arms was bigger.
Right. So basically,
he's like, even though he lost, I felt bad for the guy. Hey guys, tell him that his arm is bigger. Do it for me. Just do it.
No, he told the wardrobe department to tell him that his his own arms were bigger than Ventura's. So he cheated to win.
Oh.
And that's exactly...
Oh, he was like, I wanted a champagne.
Right,
hey,
right.
Yo, I need you to lie for me.
Right.
Yeah, you might get some. Just lie for me.
Right. And this is the kind of stuff that he pulled when he was in bodybuilder competition. Because I had read his autobiography, and he would pull all kind of psychological tricks on his opponents to fake them out so he can win the competition. So that's classic Arnold. The film provided a variety of hardships for the actors, such as leeches, snakes, stifling humidity, heat, and rough terrain. All of the night scenes were filmed during freezing cold temperatures, which was especially hard on Arnold Schwarzenegger during the latter half of the film, when the mud he had to wear, actually pottery clay, became cold and wet. He was warned it would take his body temperature down a few degrees, and he shivered nonstop. Even when they tried to heat him up with lamp, it just made the clay dry out. He tried drinking Jagarti, a snaps mixture, to warm him, but that just got him drunk.
Hey, well, paid off.
A lot of people think that alcohol can warm you up, but it doesn't. It actually makes it faster for you to lose heat.
The invisibility cloaking effect was achieved with bright red suit because it was the farthest opposing of the green of the jungle and the blue of the sky. The red was removed with chroma key techniques, leaving an empty area. The take was then repeated without the actors using a 30% wider lens on the camera. When the two takes were combined optimally, the jungle from the second take filled in the empty area because the second take was filmed with the wider lens. A vague outlet of the alien could be seen with the background scenery being around its shape, which, yeah, you can tell when they do give you that scene of the predator being cloaked.
Right.
It's like you can see the lines being all wavy,
right.
disjointed.
So that wasn't computer animation. That was just camera techniques. That was absolutely beautiful. It was
Nowadays,
awesome.
It's like, okay, we're gonna use CGI. That's how we're gonna do it. It's gonna be perfect in CGI.
Well, now when they do the CGI for the alien, they just make it look like the way it looked back in the day. But it was great. What they did was awesome. So Dutch's line, "Get to the chopper," is Arnold Schwarzenegger's favorite personal catchphrase from all the films that he appears in.
After Dutch impels a bad guy against a wooden post with his machete, he utters the immortal one-liner, "Stick around." This was apparently improvised by Arnold Schwarzenegger.
The machete-like weapon Dutch throws at the bad guy was made special for the film by a knife maker trying to sell the protection his wears. John McTiernan wasn't thrilled with any of his existing blades, but asked if it could be manufactured. But asked if he could manufacture a machete instead. It ended up being far too bigger and heavier than they expected, so the "stick around" quip was added as a way for Dutch to get rid of it. Schwarzenegger gave it to the director at the end of shooting, and he still has it.
The original concept for this film originated as a joke. Someone said that the only person Rocky Balboa had yet to fight was E.T., the extraterrestrial, that came out in 1982.
Still having problems with that word. It's extraterrestrial.
Terrestrial. Yeah.
So, Rocky Balboa is Rocky from the Rocky movies.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
The distinctive clicking and gurgling sound the Predator makes throughout the movie was thought up by Peter Cullen. Before I go on, do you know who Peter Cullen is?
No.
He is Optimus Prime. It's a voice of Optimus Prime.
Okay.
So that was fascinating because I was like, oh, he did other things besides cartoons. So after producers approached him to give the Predator a voice, he was taken aback because he had no idea what such a creature was supposed to sound like. Not to mention that the producers were reluctant to show what the creature was finally going to look like. They relented and showed him the design, and Cullen, who thought the Predator resembled a dying horseshoe crab, remembered as a kid how if he turned one over, one would gurgle, and that became the Predator's sound. The character of predator was never meant to make a distinctive clicking sound. Peter Cullen had finished 11 reels of King Kong and was coughing up blood. He chose this vocalization because it was easy on his voice, which is, what was he doing where he's coughing up blood trying to sound like King Kong?
I'm pretty sure the whole roaring.
I guess he was roaring hard.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's crazy. He hurt himself trying to do that.
Jean-Claude Van Damme was originally cast to play the Predator, the idea being the physical action star would use his martial arts to make the Predator an agile ninja-like hunter. However, the original design for the Predator was too much cumbersome and difficult to manage in the jungle, and Van Damme couldn't make the required movements in it. Additionally, it was reported that Van Damme constantly complained about the monster suit being too hard, causing him to pass out, while also voicing his reservations on numerous occasions about the fact that he would not be appearing on the camera without the suit. Van Damme was finally removed from the film officially for being too short at 5'9". Arnold Schwarzenegger and his team were bodybuilders between 6'2" and 6'5". He was replaced by Kevin Peter Hall, who was 7'2", and the suit was redesigned because even with a more imposing actor, it was felt to not provoke enough fear.
Yeah, and so this is what I meant by the discrepancy.
IMDb saying he's 6'something.
6'9".
6'9". They're saying he's 7'2" in this.
Right. So I don't know who's telling the truth, but we just gonna keep reading. Arnold Schwarzenegger recommended Jesse Ventura for Blaine after interviewing him for the role. He thought that he looked the part, was big enough, and had a deep voice, and was manly. And I guess it also helps that Jesse Ventura was an actual member of SEAL Team 6. So go ahead.
The Predator costume weighed around 200 pounds, and even though 7'2" Kevin Peter Hall was a large and powerful man, he had to be connected to a bungee rig to enable him to move more believably.
Right. So yeah, that suit must have been massive. Arnold Schwarzenegger lost over 25 pounds before filming began in order to better fit the role of a special warfare operative who would be lean as well as muscular.
Shane Black hated the glasses he was given to wear as Hawkins. He wanted to wear authentic military issue ballistic glasses worn by actual troops in the field. But John McTiernan wanted him to look as geeky as possible.
Yeah, and I suppose it worked. I think the glasses that Shane Black wanted to wear were the what we call the birth control glasses.
Yeah. So
they're real thick glasses that is said that they make you look so ugly that no woman would want to sleep with you. Hence the birth control glasses. So the Predator's blood, a goopy substance with the color of Mountain Dew, was made on set using a mixture of liquid from inside glue sticks and KY jelly.
Carl Weathers joked in an interview that Arnold Schwarzenegger got him addicted to cigar smoking during filming. Arnold, famous for smoking cigars, offered one to Weathers, who intentionally declined because he was a non-smoker from his pro football player days, but eventually gave in. Once Weathers had tried it, Arnold gave him an entire box of cigars. Weathers ended this part of the interview by looking to the camera and cheerfully declaring, "Shame on you, Arnold. Shame on you."
Right. In an interview, Carl Weathers said the actors would secretly wake up as early as 3 a.m. to work out before the day's shooting. Weathers, who stated that he would act as if his physique was naturally given to him, and he would work out only after the other actors were nowhere to be seen.
Jesse Ventura pulled a prank on Arnold Schwarzenegger by pouring water over himself while at the gym before Arnold arrived. Thinking that Ventura was drenched in sweat, Arnold believed that Ventura was working out longer than he usually did. He resolved to begin his workout sooner. He and Ventura both started arriving earlier to one-up each other until they both started to arrive at 4 a.m.
See, and this is what I mean by this ongoing machismo contest that they was doing, like both on and off the screen, trying to out macho each other. So most of the cast and crew suffered from traveler's diarrhea since the Mexican hotel in which they were living was having problems with their water purification. The only ones who didn't get sick were Arnold Schwarzenegger and John McTiernan.
The studio's insurance company would not agree to insure the production unless a bodyguard was hired for Sonny Landham, who played as Billy, for the sole purpose of protecting people from Sonny. The bodyguard followed Sonny everywhere to ensure he didn't get into a fight, since he was well known to be violent and short-tempered.
Right, so that's kind of messy.
Like, listen, we're not gonna have any show policy until you get bodyguards for Sonny.
Right.
What do you mean bodyguards for him? To protect people from him.
Right.
Not to protect people. Not the other way around. No. We're trying to stop him from hurting people.
Right. So he is so ornery that they had to hire people to stop him from fighting other people. So the mandibles of the Predator were the idea of James Cameron, who stated, I've always wanted to see something with mandibles. And Stan Winston, that's an interesting idea. And he started drawing the now famous mandibles of the Predator. So between the Rastafarian painting in Joel Silver's office and the mandible idea from James Cameron, Winston came up with the Stan Winston's Predator. And James Cameron takes complete credit for it, even though he also admits he had nothing to do with it.
Shane Black came up with the coarse?
Right.
The coarse jokes that he tells in the film.
All right. So I'm about to get real offensive, so I'm about to tell most of these jokes.
There's only two of them.
There's only two of them.
So viewer beware.
Or listener beware.
Yeah,
and they
beware.
both have to do with women genitalia. So the first joke is that he tells Billy, and this is on the helicopter. He's like, so I went up to my girlfriend and how does it go? And so I went up to my girlfriend and I said, I'd like a little pussy. And she said, I'd like a little pussy too. Mine's as big as a house. And that's the one that
Billy stares at him, and then he's trying to explain the joke. But Billy just stares at him.
Don't you understand it? See, her pussy, it's big. It's and then the second joke is, so I went up to my girlfriend and I said, "Ma, you got a big pussy. Ma, you got a big pussy." And she said, "Why did you say it twice?" I didn't.
And then Billy just looking at him, and then he explains his whole time, because there's an echo.
He started to explain about the echo.
And then that's when Billy gets it and starts to laugh.
Right. So I think Billy got it already. It was just a delayed reaction. But the funny part is not the joke, is that how Billy trying to explain the joke
and
to
then
Billy.
Billy just stares at him like, why?
Right. It's like, why are you telling me these jokes? So Hawkins was originally supposed to wear a distinctive red beret, most likely inspired by the U.S. Army's maroon airborne berets worn by American paratroopers. Shane Black refused to wear it as he thought it would look ridiculous in the jungle. He later regretted that decision as he felt it would have made his character stand out.
It would have made it stand other than, telling the crew jokes. It would have definitely made him stand out.
But he already had glasses, right? Yeah. And it wouldn't, he would have stood out, but he would have stood out too much because it's not something that you would wear in the jungle because red is a very, attractive color. Yeah. And the other thing is that, So, those things are miserable to wear, and he would have been miserable trying to wear that in the jungle. Go ahead.
The weapon that Blaine, played by who was Jesse Ventura, is using a minigun. This is a weapon most.
Wait a minute, you're reading the wrong one.
Oh wait, I am. Oh yeah, I see. Some of the early Predator shots were accomplished with stuntmen in a red suit that would later be layered with the visual effect. But what I really wanted was a monkey. John McTiernan got his monkey, but once he got the red suit on him, the monkey was so embarrassed by the red suit that he hid. He got up, he go up in a tree and cowered and wouldn't do what monkeys do.
Right. So that's kind of messed up. I was like,
I don't want a monkey in the red suit. Got the monkey.
Why are you torturing this monkey?
The monkey's like, I don't want to do this.
Right. The weapon that Blaine, Justin Ventura, is using is a minigun. This is a weapon most commonly mounted on the side of a helicopter, and many, many modifications had to be made to make it usable in the film. It was powered via an electrical cable hidden down the front of Blaine's trousers. The firing rate was slowed down to approximately 1/3 of the normal fire rate or rate of fire, both to reduce the consumption of blanks and to make the spinning of the barrels visible on film. It is rumored that Ventura had to wear a bulletproof vest because of the forceful ejections of spent cartridges, but this is false. Unmodified miniguns eject out the bottom, with the cases essentially falling out due to gravity. Close examination of the film, especially in the scene in which Mac fires a minigun at the fleeing predator, along with other commandos, show that the ejection of the minigun was not changed. So basically, that gun you had it's a real gun, but it's not something a person would carry, right? So it's not something that they would you would actually see someone carry, because it was like one of the coolest weapons in the film, but it's not something that a person would actually carry. It's something you would mount on a helicopter.
So, due to health and safety regulations, Arnold Schwarzenegger was not allowed to light his cigar inside the helicopter near the beginning of the film. As a result, the glow was added optically in post-production. I was like, okay.
No, I didn't realize that. I thought that was a real cigarette. It's like, oh.
But that means the smoke was fake too, since he was in there. Because when he smoked, he was in the helicopter smoking.
Right, probably fake. But it's funny, right? Because that was realistic, especially for that time. So the original plot had Dutch Schaefer, Arnold Schwarzenegger, pitted against the Predator alone. Schwarzenegger thought this was a bad idea. The script was rewritten to include a team of crack commandos.
Yeah,
so the fact that they had an entire team was Arnold Schwarzenegger's idea. He should be given producer credit for that, because that was brilliant. That made the film stand out from a lot of the other moves that he had done.
This film had the second biggest opening weekend of 1987. Beverly Hills Cops 2, that also came out in 1987, had the first.
So John McTiernan was keen to make the Conrad. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm reading that wrong. John McTiernan was keen to make the camaraderie banter between the soldiers as real as possible. To help this along, the cast trained together on location with weapons, fitness, and a military training regiment that started at 6 a.m. every day, including training in the silent hand signals seen in the movie. He stated that even though many of the cast had military backgrounds, he wanted them all to get a chance to know each other, develop as a group, and endure something rough and conquer it together. And that was brilliant.
It does so in the movie.
Right.
Especially with Mac and Cooper. That definitely shows.
Right.
The Predator head was built as a separate piece, and a total of 3 were created for the film. A hero head that was capable of facial articulation, a static stunt head, and a head that was completely open at the front for use in scenes where the Predator is wearing its mask. The animatronic face on the hero's head was controlled by a set of 9 servo motors that enable motions of the brow area and the mandibles, as well as a cheek squint and an additional external servo motor added later, hidden in the creature's backpack to move the lower mandibles, which was previously did not open as widely as intended. Kevin Peter Hall was able to puppeteer the creature's mouth with his own jaw and wore contact lenses to finish the effect. That's very nice.
Wow, that seemed like a very expensive, very complicated mask, but it works.
It worked
marvelously. That's an incredible looking alien.
For them.
So Shane Black spent his free time on the set writing the screenplay for The Last Boy Scout, 1991. So now you see why I said he was full on getting into writing movies, even when he was making this movie.
The real life goblin spider species Predatorunops. Predatorunops. Blaine is named after Blaine Cooper. Every member of the Predatorunops genes has a name that refers predator. Due to the perceived similarities between the spider's and mouth parts and the predator's mandibles.
Right. So basically, they found a spider species and named it after the predator, and then each member of that species is named after a character in the Predator movies. Most of the films shot under the original title Hunter, as can be seen in the clapboards and the outtakes on the special edition DVD. It was only later that the creature design was changed that the movie became Predator. Predator also became the default name of the creature species used by fans, despite never being mentioned on screen until Predator 2, 1990. In several extended universe comic book series, the creatures are referred to as Yoncha, which has since become a widely accepted semi-official name.
I want to say, because it's like they never gave this thing, and they're like, oh, the thing must be named Predator. That's the name of the species. Yeah. Second one comes out, it's like, it has a name. We just never gave it, or just never came up with one.
So Yoncha is spelled Yautja, if you want to look that up. So yeah, they, and it's kind of neat that they never actually try to name it, but what you call it? They just call it what
just like with Baby Yoda. It's like, hey, that's Baby Yoda.
Right. They just call it what it was. So let's go over and see what the critics think. The critics on Rotten Tomatoes gave it 81%. Audience score was 87%. And on IMDb reviews, it has a score of 7.8 out of 10. So tell us what some of the critics thought.
Cynthia Fuchs from Pop Matters. Even with the rise of the governor
is governator.
Oh, governator. Okay, governator. Complicated case made by Predator against mainstream movies violence, CIA shenanigans, and U.S. imperialism preserves.
So I don't know. I don't know what she's trying to say, but apparently she liked it.
Yeah, it seems like she liked it, but I don't know what she was trying to get at.
She was she referred to Arnold Schwarzenegger as the governor. So yeah, I'm not exactly, but apparently she liked it. She liked the message it was trying to say.
Yeah, there was CIA shenanigans.
Yeah, because you referred to CIA shenanigans, U.S. imperialism.
Because the way Dylan was like, hey, we're going to go rescue some guys. Oh, that was a lie just to get you to work for me.
Right.
Ha, ha, ha. That's how the CIA works.
Right. So moving along, Dennis Schwartz from Dennis Schwartz Movie Reviews. An unpleasant action thriller that's about as thrilling as watching a fixed fight in the pro wrestling circuit. No, Dennis, you just don't know how to enjoy life.
I think he didn't like the slow moments, like from the beginning, from when they're walking around. I don't think he liked those parts.
I guess, I don't know. But you can't have all out action, because if you just have action just for action's sake, then it becomes boring. You risk showing too much action. That's what happened with the second Matrix movie. There was like too much action going on for too long, to the point where it started to get boring, and then you start checking out. Ed Travis of Synapse said, a whole mess of talent worked at the top of their game in front of and behind the camera come together at the perfect times in their careers to build the lightning in a bottle that is Predator. Ed Travis is absolutely right. I wholeheartedly endorse this critique of the movie.
Derek Adams from Timed Out. With this silted dialogue and hammy action, the film has the look of expensive production, but feels like a B movie delivering sort of a undermanding monster mayhem Arnie's fans have come to expect.
I don't know, Derek. If you're watching it now, you might say it doesn't age well. I guess, maybe, perhaps, because now B movies of today, they've upped their game, so the special effects and whatnot look a lot better.
Look at Korean movies; they're the new B movies, to be honest.
You said the Korean movies?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. But still, this is a great movie. And so I don't know what he's
like,
talking
no
about.
disrespect, but they can be funny at times anyway.
And it's like he calls it hammy acting. Not really, because a lot of these guys, they're not great actors. You have Bill Dukes and you have I'm forgetting his name. I'm thinking of his character name, Apollo Creed, but that's not. It's not his name. Carl Weathers. That's some real acting right there. And then you have like Shane Black and Richard Chavez and Bill Duke. I mean, those and I mentioned Bill Duke and Sonny Lanham. I mean, those are some really good actors. I mean, really, Arnold Schwarzenegger's acting, you could say that was weak.
I would say it improved a little bit.
I suppose.
Better than the other one.
I suppose, I guess. But still, I wouldn't call it hammy acting. So this already discredits this critique. So finally, Predator is at this recording available on Hulu. Is it available on Hulu?
I don't know. You said it was.
It was.
We didn't watch. You went to buy it because you didn't want to deal with the commercials.
Right.
And I was like, okay.
You're correct. It's available on Hulu.
So if you want to deal with the commercials because you don't want to pay for that Hulu subscription, have fun with that.
Right. It's on Hulu, but I think there's a tier of Hulu that you can buy that doesn't have commercials.
Yeah, I believe that's the Hulu Plus. The Hulu Plus, like, hey, no ads. So you come and get it.
Right. So if you got Hulu Plus, then you can watch Predator without the commercials. But I don't have Hulu Plus, so I bought it. The next episode is Demolition Man, which is currently available on HBO Max. We'll be doing that with Donnell and Robert from the Watching It podcast. One last time, if you like the show, then please help us grow. To do that, you can rate us or review us on podchaser.com, Apple Podcasts, or your favorite podcast app. And you can also share our show with someone. You can pound or what do you call it? Is that pound? Hashtag.
Stop saying pound.
You can hashtag or you can add us, Batlick Seminar, on your favorite social media sites.
Don't forget that you can contact us at fanmail@backlookcinema.com.
Believe me, it matters. Be safe, hug your loved ones, and be outstanding.